need someone to hold me, but I wait for something more. Cause I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. Because I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith.
Hi, this is Michelle Dede. Keep listening to Smooth 98.1.
Meet Josh. Josh is Mr. Convenient. He loves doing everything conveniently, like requesting cab services with his smartphone, grocery shopping online, make payments and bank transfers with his phone, and more. But something else makes him tick, and everyone wants to know what it is. Well, Josh buys and sells stocks all by himself online, and his trading secret, ARM Stock Trade. It's easy. He logs on to www.armstocktrade.com and buys and sells stocks, subscribes for treasury bills and government bonds, views all his portfolio at a glance, stays on top of news and market trends, executes his trading fast, and he does these and more, all by himself. Now that's what makes Josh the coolest guy. Won't you rather be like Josh? Get on board. Log on to www.armstocktrade.com and make money now.
Hi Lagos, my name is Buchi Franklin and you're listening to The Smooth Breakfast.
With critical focus on the Nigerian economy, we see the bigger picture.
And a bit of news, Nigeria, India trade.
Business Express on Smooth 98.1.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. I'm Ayo Myro SA. Time is 6:31 and it's time for Business Express 981. Rotus and Olamide from ARM are going to be analyzing today's stories. Today, we're speaking about the business stories for today. Good morning, Rotus. Good morning, Olamide.
Good morning, Ayo.
Good morning to you both. Now, if you'd like to join the conversation, please do so using the WhatsApp number 0809 444 0981, or you can go onto Twitter at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag Business Express 981. We're not streaming on YouTube today. However, we'll resume streaming tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Ayo. Hi, Olamide. Hi, Lagos, one more time. So, the big news from yesterday is that the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, put out a press release on cryptocurrencies. And they said that they are now going to recognize cryptocurrencies as securities, which is quite a remarkable turnaround from 3 years ago, January of 2017, when they said, hey, Nigerians, don't go near cryptocurrencies. They are volatile. They are risky. You could lose your money. Don't touch them. And then yesterday they come out and put out a press release saying, okay, you know what? We're going to recognize cryptocurrencies as securities. And they mentioned a number of things. If you want to now, offer cryptocurrencies here, you have to prove, the burden of proof is on you. To show that it is not a security if you don't want to be regulated by the SEC. So now I'm wondering whether full service investment houses like ARM that offer a number of their products, whether they're going to jump on crypto. Allow me to client. What's up?
Hi, Rotus. It's a welcome development, being that, like you said 3 years ago, that was not the story. But I think more importantly, you've seen increased recognition of this particular assets. I think research has shown that you have like almost 111 states that have adopted crypto currencies and all of that. The likes of US and Canada have really very friendly policies towards it, although what they try to do is to enforce anti-laundering, anti-money laundering laws in order to prevent law, which was in order to prevent fraud, which was the key issue at the first place. Yeah, and the likes of EU too. They've also tried to bring more policies that are a bit more friendly. Although for their member states are not allowed to launch their own crypto, but they are encouraged to have the legalized exchanges and also comply with the regulations. And you could go on the likes of Japan, Brazil, what's the name, Argentina. You've also adopted the asset class here. But I think what is more important is the laws that are put in place to ensure that the idea behind going against it in the first place is also still prevented. So everyone, you've seen increased acceptability, right? Maybe not as you would accept a naira or a dollar, but basically across the board, people have gradually gravitated towards making use of the crypto. So and what you've just seen is, and what Nigeria is doing right now is similar to what countries that have adopted it have done, put in regulations to make sure that this the downsides of accepting it, is still well protected. And also you find that different countries actually categorize it in different forms, in different they give it different names. I think in UK it's categorized as a capital gains asset, and some of them actually they get to tax some of this they get to tax this asset class basically. So it's sort of like a means of also revenue for the regulator and maybe the government. And also it also helps to increase the integration that you've seen so far. The fact that it's gradually gotten accepted, over 110 states across the world, it just tells you that it's gone from where it was before, where a lot of countries were really fighting against it, and you have more countries accepting it but have tight regulations around it. There's a particular country that says that you can't trade it within their region locally, but citizens are allowed to actually trade it outside their region, basically. So, and I think that's what will continue. So, SEC bringing up this regulation or proposing this regulation is actually well accepted. It's a welcome development. You could, again, the way Nigeria is, you want to be very careful, but you could start to see some of these corporations, start to deal in this current or this particular asset class, being that is getting increasingly recognized by the regulator, basically. Before now, we didn't have a stance either it was legal or not legal, but people were trading it. But having the SEC come up with this or propose this policy now, it's more friendly and it's good for the market generally. Looking at what has happened across the globe, so it's a welcome development, and you could see some companies, start to adopt it. But again, it really depends on a lot of things, just because of the way Nigeria's peculiarity, basically.
All right. Thank you. Rotus, just before you go on, we have some comments on WhatsApp. MI from Akwaka says, Rotus, you don't mean it. When the SEC turned around the fortunes of cryptocurrency, we were like them that dreameth. EB things. Great move, Sha, because the most scathing criticism on crypto was that it is usually being used to launder funds because it can be untraceable. It now comes down to the firewalls put in place to protect users so that we will not hear stories that touch the heart. And then we have another comment say that truth is speculative, just like slavery was law before abolishment. So also cryptocurrency is now being adopted and law relaxed on it soon. It will be Mary J in Ondo State with close to $6.2 billion market valuation standing at fixed. And then that's coming in. And then we have one more comment from Zikolo. Zikolo says our government regulatory agencies will continue to confuse us with inconsistent policies until we no longer believe anything they tell us. Anyway, recognizing cryptocurrency as a form of financial security is a welcome development. But how do they intend to regulate such global financial tool?
All right, thank you for that. Go ahead, Olamide, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like I mentioned earlier, and I think what is more important, so they could propose the rules to regulate it and all of that, but I think we're a bit more relaxed when some of these things are being proposed. I think more important so it's a welcome development and we can easily get happy all about it, but I think what is really, really more important is how the users are protected. Like I said, US literally bring up new policies, to prevent new anti-money laundering policies, just to make sure that users are protected. And the reason why a lot of countries kick against it in the first place, does not now become, easy. Nigeria, you already know, we already have that porous stuff when it comes to a lot of regulations. So, but if it's going to be totally legally recognized and investors can actually trade it, there needs to be very stringent policies to make sure that, whatever you trying to adopt this global integration and make sure that you're not left behind, you don't leave loopholes in your system.
Great stuff. I quickly want us to touch on inflation. I had a follow-up question, Olamide, but we'll skip that because I know there's time is of the essence. Olamide, I think we're expecting inflation this week. What's your outlook? I think we're at 12.82% for July or so.
Yeah, so it's actually supposed to be out today. You definitely know inflation is going to maintain the upward trajectory. Like you said, we're at 4.8% at last month. As at July. For August, it would definitely be higher than that. We're looking at something north of 13%, and it's very clear. You've seen food prices literally. I'm not sure double. Someone called me earlier and I said, "Lamdi, what's going on here? Food prices are like bread prices like double the price already." And that's what has basically happened. Across the state. You've seen the likes transport inflation has gone up, health, core, your PMS prices have gone, in a different direction from what it was before. You can go on, and it's not just a small. You can definitely expect that inflation would maintain that upward trajectory you've seen, in the last few months. For like almost 3 or 4 months now, you've seen inflation go higher than usual, and it's just because of the things I mentioned, earlier on. So, there's a possibility we'll even go very close to about 14%, towards the end of the year, because you now have electricity prices, which became effective, at the start of September. You're seeing some guys are doing double the price already, for electricity prices. So at that point, you already know that the direction for inflation is very clear. Across board, the only thing that could basically take it lower, which the last time we tried to communicate with NBS, they had mentioned that there was some sort of rebasing exercise going on. The completion of that could actually see inflation, maybe drop about, 200, 300 bits. But aside that, the direction is very clear. It's going to be an upward trajectory going forward.
Thanks, Olamide. The CBN projected, I think they released some reports on money and credits. They pushing, they said they were looking at 14. You just mentioned it at 14% by the end of the year. Is that a conservative estimate? Because I know there are a couple other folks that say we could go higher than 14% by the end of the year. But is that 14% accurate, or you think it could be higher, or maybe possibly lower?
Definitely not lower. That is it's clear that it will not be lower. Also, the fact that the borders are still going to remain closed, you cannot expect inflation to be lower. Also, I should add that the PMS price increase that has happened already, where ex-depot price is now 151. If truly, right now, you can't tell if they've truly deregulated the market, because a lot of these marketers actually still have the stock they bought, for the previous months. They still have it, so they basically just stock up for 1 month. So they still have the old products, in their jurisdiction. Now, what happens when it finishes? Would they be able to access FX, at the rate NNPC could bring in some of this product? Or NNPC will also start importing at the parallel markets, or at a rate that is also applicable to other marketers. Now, what that would mean is PMS price will definitely go higher. If truly they deregulated, we should be around at 380 naira to dollar. We should be around 169-ish, and at 440, which is currently what we have, or 440 and above, which is currently what we have in the parallel market, we should be trading at around 180, or slightly over 180 naira. So it means that if we truly deregulated, then there's still more room for PMS price to go up. And if that's the case, going down is not an option. From 14% and above is what you could expect, over the rest of, by the end of this year. So, 14%, but I think it could even go higher than that if these things that we mentioned actually kick off. So if PMS price continue at the pace at which it's gone so far, then yes, you could see inflation even go higher than that.
All right. Thank you very much, Rotis and Olamide. I'll take a few more comments. Rotis?
Yes, go ahead,
All right,
please.
so Ugo from First Success, fair enough. I say crypto has come to stay with the way it's sold. Crypto is the new gold. And then Benga Kamu says, Uncle, inflation is going up, not down, especially when insecurity is driving farmers from their farms. But Buhari is adamant he's not opening the borders. We all will be here, says Benga Kamu. MI ends this with, bag of rice is 32,000 naira, but minimum wage is 30,000 naira. This country is not balanced at all. Policies are spurring this inflation more. But what do I know? Most investments now have a negative real rate of return, but what do I know? Moving on. All right, we have to move on right now. But a big thank you, Olamide from ARM, and of course, Rotis. You can find us at Smooth981 FM. Use the hashtag BusinessExpress981 and also tag at Rota and Quote if you have questions around today's conversations. Next up, we have some great music lined up, after which we go into Freshly Pressed 981, which is the daily newspaper review. Joining me this morning will be Cheta and Adenike. Good morning.
With critical focus on the Nigerian economy, we see the bigger picture.
And a bit of news, Nigeria, India trade. And
Business Express on Smooth 98.1.
Love music. Smooth 98.1.
Meet Josh. Josh is Mr. Convenient. He loves doing everything conveniently, like requesting cab services with his smartphone, grocery shopping online, make payments and bank transfers with his phone, and more. But something else makes him tick, and everyone wants to know what it is. Well, Josh buys and sells stocks all by himself online, and his trading secret, ARM Stock Trade. It's easy. He logs on to www.armstocktrade.com and buys and sells stocks, subscribes for treasury bills and government bonds, views all his portfolio at a glance, stays on top of news and market trends, executes his trading fast, and he does these and more, all by himself. Now that's what makes Josh the coolest guy. Won't you rather be like Josh? Get on board. Log on to www.armstocktrade.com and make money now.
This is IBK Spaceship Boy, and music to me is a vehicle via which I communicate my message of light to the world. Music is love, it's peace, it's joy.